All right, rock and roll. We're up and running for beautiful Wednesday. What the heck is the date today? The 19th of February, 2025. God, this year is rolling, right? We're past Valentine's Day. We're sliding into Easter. And wow, next thing you know, it'll be summer. If we don't die of hypothermia before then because of the extreme winter. But, you know, we live in Southern California. And if you're here, you know what it is. If you don't live here and you want to come here, please don't. It's incredibly cold. There's polar bears that roam the streets. There's actually lions. People get killed every day by it. Please don't come. No, it's actually a really, really beautiful place if you can handle the traffic, which is an acquired taste, that's for sure. But welcome to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast. I'm your host, John. And first off, please hit that like and subscribe button. We're starting to move up a little. We're starting to get there. Slow but sure, right? Tortoise in the hare. We're going to be there. One day, mark my words, one day we are going to be the biggest podcast on the internet. Yeah, we're going to take down Joe Rogan. We're going to take down David Pakman. We're going to take them all down because we speak the truth here, right? And I don't know if this is early. This is a Wednesday. If you really want to live on the wild side, leave a comment. But I will say this, if you have heart problems, don't do it. It's too much, okay? It's just way too much for you, okay? I want you to stay healthy. I want you to stay strong. People who leave comments, they're the ones living. They're on the razor's edge, So be the rebel you were born to be. Do that comment. If not, all right, just listen. That's cool enough. All right, we're off and running. We're taking no prisoners, telling no lies. Here we go. So what we're going to have today is our weekly food update. Yeah, food prices are going down. First day of the administration. First day. Wow, we're over 3 weeks in. 3 weeks. You know, you wonder, how long can we handle this political waterboarding? Well, we got 4 years. You know, Trump said something the other day that when you're trying to save the country, you can't break a law. And everybody is referring to a Napoleon quote, and I'm not sure what the real origin. I saw a couple different sources on that. It was from a movie. It was a derivative of after he lost Waterloo. You know, I'm not sure what the real basis is. I don't really give a F. But when Trump said that, I thought to myself, you know what? So does that mean if I oppose you politically, legally, even criminally, I can't be charged with a crime because I'm doing it to save my country? You know, who's here to define what save the country is, right? We have a lot of different opinions on that. And who says yours is right? You know, he seems to try and take the high moral ground, but I think that left him a long time ago. I think that left him the day he was, you know, on the bus with Billy Bush talking about grabbing girls' genitalia. You know, how you doing there? All right. We're going to have our update on food here. And so the last time we had an update on the eggs. The eggs are a big thing. The bird flu, over 20 million chickens have been killed since December 1st. The last time we had a price quote here from my local Stater Brothers, $13.48 for a dozen eggs. Today, it's $14.55. I did go into Costco on Sunday. Tell you can't beat that food court. And they were out of eggs. They actually put a sign up, limit 3 dozen per person. We saw Trader Joe's, I think 2 weeks ago, put a 1 dozen per customer per day. The egg thing is getting pretty bad. Now, I was reading that it takes 22 weeks for a chicken to get to the point where they can produce eggs. And the person was telling me this, and I'm trying to learn. I'm always trying to learn. Believe me, when you have as low IQ as I do, the world is your oyster, right? You're just asking questions. But he told me that it takes 22 weeks, and he said, well, you know, up in basically 6 months, will be up and running. And I go, well, how does that work? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, well, you're assuming that all the chickens, like there's a process when a hen lays an egg, right? And it has to do with temperature. And if you put it at a certain temperature, the egg actually becomes an egg that we can consume. If it's a different temperature, it becomes a chicken, and then it grows into a hen, or a rooster. And I was asking, like, okay, so 22 weeks, but that doesn't mean they're going to replace the 20 million. I mean, we don't know what the farmers are going to do. Some farmers may say, you know what? I like producing half the eggs and making actually more money. So I'm just going to keep producing the eggs, and I'm not going to worry about replacing the chickens. There's the side of the capitalist economy, right? You can't tell them what to do. You don't have a system out. And if you really think farmers are going to literally take the hit while they raise these chickens so that the prices can go down in 6 months, that doesn't really make a lot of economic sense from the farmer's perspective. I have a funny feeling we're going to be seeing these problems for the full year, maybe even 2. But, Trump said multiple times last year on the campaign trail, I think over 100, prices were going to go down on day 1. Maybe he was just talking about the Big Mac. I don't know. I think that's his only food group. The Big Mac and the, what does he have? The strawberry shake? I think that's his thing. Jimmy Dean sausage, 2 pounds. Oh, went from $5.99, $6.25. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody's going the wrong way here. My pistachio ice cream, which obviously you could see I eat it way too much. Okay, don't hate. Okay? Like my mom said, I'm just big boned. Okay? I'm not fat. I'm just big boned. Okay? Man, some haters out there. There's some haters out there. Went from $3.99 to $3.99. No increase, but I'm not seeing a decrease. Okay, let's get to that point. Finally, Tillamook cheese, 2 pounds. And let me tell you, if you haven't had Tillamook cheese, that's some good stuff. That's some really good stuff. I will say this, and I am not a foodie. Let me tell you something. I think the world of super producer Spacey. Okay, this lady is so talented. I don't know what she's hanging out with me. But she was telling me about this like food monger thing. And that's where you eat and you talk about it. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't really even like eating. I don't understand how I got this huge. I don't know how I ended up looking like Jabba the Hutt, but okay, whatever, right? Hey, I need Diet Coke. But I was thinking, it sounds good. She's got so many great ideas, but I think, like, why don't you do it? You're petite. You're thin. It'll look better on you. It's not going to look good, some fat dude eating food. I mean, really? Who wants to see that? Okay. So, what I was going to say is Tillamook cheese is a West Coast staple. It's from Oregon. Ice cream and the cheese are just unbelievable. They are great. I'm sure in the Midwest you got stuff out of Wisconsin. Not even going to argue. But the other little thing that I've always loved about the West Coast, and this is a real West Coast thing, is Laura Scudder's peanut butter. Now, I haven't had it in years, but man, I used to love that stuff. I mean, wow. And every time I was in the Midwest or in the East Coast, I never saw it. It's really a staple out here. And I was thinking, God, it's so bloody delicious. Why are we just keeping it here? Kind of like our In-N-Out. Hey, we're not going back east. Sorry. If you're on the East Coast, you can do Whataburger, you can do White Castle, but you ain't getting no In-N-Out. Sorry. Bitches. All right. We're off and running. So yesterday, the Ukraine talk started. And I just can't even believe how effed up this is all getting. I mean, how do we live in a world where the country that got invaded isn't involved in the talks? I mean, like, what in the F is going on? It's literally like an abusive relationship with a wife, with a kid or whatever, and then CPS or the authorities come in and they don't even interview the person who was getting their ass beat or abused. It's just insane. But, just when you think it's insane, Trump got to double down. So top U.S. and Russia officials held talks Tuesday. And to try and put out the format of how these talks are going to go. Still, no Ukraine. President Trump took his steel-toed shoes and kicked President Zelensky in the gonads. We'll get to that in a second. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, said that they've agreed on their high-level negotiating team. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the members, and I know you don't know who these people are, okay? But Russia has got Sergei Lavrov, and this guy has been the Russian foreign minister forever, and this guy is sharp as sharp can be. This dude has seen it all. He's done it all. This dude is literally one of the best international negotiators. Now, he is coming up on the Keystone Cops. That's the United States side, starting with Marco Rubio, who had so many concessions before the negotiations even began. I don't even know why we're doing it. Why doesn't Russia just go, yeah, we'll just take what he just said? U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff. This guy's a buffoon. This is the guy who started endorsing, let's get the Palestinians out of Gaza. Yeah, this is the guy. And NSA advisor Mike Waltz. I wish it was Tim Waltz, because then we'd actually have somebody with an IQ over 30 on our side. This literally, did you ever see Seinfeld? You ever see that episode with Little Kicks where Kramer, he starts taking karate and he's moving up. He's got the belt and he gets the next belt and he gets the next belt and he gets the next belt. And everybody's amazed, like, wow, in 3 weeks, you're the top of the class. And then we find out he's fighting 6-year-olds, And he goes, it's not size, it's skill level, Jerry. Yeah, right. That's what we got here. Okay, we got Kramer against the 6-year-olds. All right, I already know how this is going to go. Donald Trump, though, he wants to knee Zelensky a little more. He says, I think I have the power to end this war. This is literally the most blatant attempt to get that Nobel Peace Prize. Let me tell you, that he really wants that Barack Obama Nobel Peace Prize. And he is going to sell out whoever he can to get it, right? Yeah. We're going to see what happens here. He also continued, and I think it's going well, but I heard, he's talking about the negotiations. Oh, well, we weren't invited. He's talking about the Ukrainians. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it after 3 years. You should have never started it. I really want that to settle in. He is accusing the Ukrainians of starting this war. I mean, what a reprehensible thug Trump is. And I mean, that is literally that. I'll give you an example. Let me tell you something. I remember back in the day watching the Phil Donahue show. And he was a groundbreaker. He was Oprah before Oprah. And he had a panel on of famous wives. And one of Steve McQueen's ex-wives, it wasn't Ally McGraw, it was some other lady, she said on stage that Steve used to be physically abusive to her. And everybody in the audience was like, oh, wow. Even in the 80s or 90s or whenever this was. I don't remember the date. And then she says, unbelievable, Stockholm Syndrome. She says, but only when I deserved it. Here's Trump, right? Ukraine started it? Yeah, I guess they started it by having a border they tried to enforce. I mean, in what world do we live in? What kind of psychopath says Ukraine started this war? Oh, yeah. Poland started the war against the Nazis. Yeah, and then the Nazis had to fight back with blitzkrieg and annihilate them. Jesus F. Christ. I mean, really. How can anybody take anything that comes out of that pie hole on his orange-headed face seriously when he says Ukraine started it? I guess if you say 1,000 idiotic things a day, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Trump then goes on to claim he could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them most of their land, but they chose not to do it. Yeah, this is the same guy who claimed prices were going to go down on day one, that he was going to solve the war in 24 hours. Yeah, that's that guy. I keep waiting to see when the prices are going to go down because I'm not in that supermarket. I wish I was. Good luck. All right, that's going to be our main story, but we're going to have odd notes in the news. I got to keep you entertained. I'm going to find little nuggets here for you so you can enthrall your friends with your wisdom. I'm not sure I'm giving you any wisdom, but I'm going to give you some cool stuff, right? The Vatican says the 88-year-old Pope Francis has pneumonia in both his lungs. They call it a complex picture. He has a long history of lung-related medical struggles. Polymicrobial infection in his lungs. It's considered very serious. The Vatican is incredibly closed up, right? You don't really know. It's like Doge. You don't know what's going on there. But even though I'm a lapsed Catholic, my dad was teasing me about that today, about not being a good Catholic. And I just, that's his journey. That's my journey, right? But I wish the Pope the best. I think we all do. I wish the best for anybody. I don't wish anything bad. Well, unless it's Donald Trump. And then, I don't know. I'll be tested. All right. Rocky ASAP was found not guilty in a Los Angeles courtroom. I just saw that, came across the screen there. I guess Rihanna is his girlfriend or a close friend. I don't know what that all is. Good for Rocky ASAP. Finally, a black man gets out of the judicial conundrum that is the Los Angeles thing. But talking about that, we got Sean Diddy Combs, and this dude's just a POS. I mean, this dude is just a rich dude, and this guy, as far as I'm concerned, they ought to put this guy in a hole and throw away the key, because this guy is just a pimp on a pimp, and he's a jerk on a jerk, okay? I don't really care what they say. I don't care what your high-priced lawyers say. You're a scumbag. You are a effing scumbag because you were trafficking in young girls. You were getting them in your little party circuit, and you weren't letting them out. And, there's a special place in hell for that guy. I'm not a big believer in the heaven and hell thing. I believe doing good because it's the right thing to do. I don't want to do it just because I think I'm going to get rewarded. But let me tell you, if there's a hell, this son of a bitch is going to be there with Epstein. This guy is just you get me going. Got to wait the 10 minutes. Super producer Spacey says, wait the 10 minutes. He moved to dismiss the federal charges, arguing the statute's racist origins. The origins are the Mann Act of, I believe, 1912, and it was to move women across state line for the purposes of prostitution. Don't even know how that even is racist, but okay, let's go with that. He wants the biggest charge, transportation to engage in prostitution. And really what seems to have happened is this guy's living the party lifestyle, right? He's doing his sex offs and whatever he's doing in his houses. And honestly, it's just so bloody disgusting. It's just whatever. But hey, man, the rich and the famous, okay? I'm sure it happens in political circles. It happened in music. I'm sure it happens in entertainment. Harvey Weinstein, right? Think that guy. That he would get these young girls, aspiring singers. He would say, I'm going to promote your career. I'm going to help you with your career. Of course, how are they not going to get sucked into that? You have one of the biggest musical acts in the world. How are they not going to get seduced by that? Let's call it what it is. And then he's going to get them there. He's going to get them on the planes. He's going to get them in the Bahamas. He's going to get them in Miami. He's going to get them away from their support structure, isolate them, and then use them up, him and his friends. That's exactly what seems to have happened here, right? Well, I'm not a death penalty guy, but man, this guy is just a scum on a scum. I get really emotional about this. I think the way society is set up and the way they abuse women and the way they treat women is just reprehensible. And I know we're in the year 2025 and everybody's talking about, women have too many rights and we don't need this and we don't. That's such BS. I'll give you an example. Like I give you examples all the whole show. Is Elon Musk, this social influencer named Ashley St. Clark, put out on social media yesterday that she had a kid through IVF with Elon Musk, and that he has such superior genes that the kid's going to be incredible. Elon Musk is incredible. The country's going to be incredible because he's doing it. And the point I'm getting to is he has had 14 kids with 4 different women, and I have not heard one effing blip in the media. Now, what do you think would happen if AOC had, let's say, 6 kids? Forget 14. She had 6 kids with 4 different guys. Okay? What do you think they'd be using? They'd be using the word whore. They'd be using the word slut. It's disgusting how women are vilified, how they're sexualized, even in today's society. It's just disgusting. And, you got that guy with the hair weave and the teeth replacement, and he's the richest guy in the world. Whoopee effing do. This guy is a POS on a POS. And he's had 14 kids with 4 women, and nobody says a thing. And he's part of this whole party of the family. Oh, MAGA, we're all about family. Yeah. Oh, okay. He's like Abraham, except he's the retarded Abraham, because he wants to be the father of a nation, but he's the father of the movement of idiots. Goddamn Doge. Ugh, get me going. I hope I made the 10 minutes, super producer Spacey. I'm also going to talk about a story in entertainment here. I think most of us have probably witnessed Guy Pearce. He's a great actor. Done a lot of stuff. I would say maybe his most famous role was in L.A. Confidential. He was in Count of Monte Cristo. He was also in Prometheus. He's just had a really spectacular career. He's not really super well known, but I would call him, I don't want to say he's Gary Oldman, but he is a really, really good actor. And we've seen him in a lot of stuff. He's just never risen to the star level of a Keanu Reeves or a Russell Crowe or one of those gentlemen. But fine actor. And he's talking about the 1997 movie that he did with Kevin Spacey, L.A. Confidential. And he talks about how he broke down and cried on the set. Now, at that time, Kevin Spacey was coming on like a freight train. He was coming on. He had just won an Academy Award for The Usual Suspects the year before, and he was on a ride. He had about a 5-6 year ride there where he was just boom, boom, boom. He was a rocket ship, right? And Guy Pearce talks about now that, and this is a guy talking about it, that Kevin Spacey was always very handsy with him. And he really doesn't go into much, but I think we can understand what that means. Kevin Spacey is gay. And he said he was very handsy with him. And he says he brushed it all off until after the movie was done. And 5 months later, he realized how terrible the work environment was on the set. All right. But he doesn't say anything, right? It was in 2017, 20 years later, when Anthony Rapp came forward with accusations that Spacey made unwanted advances at a party in New York when he was 14. Now, Spacey was taken to court, he was acquitted of any charges here. And the thing that Guy Pearce talks about is he had heard for all these years, this is back in 97, about how aggressive sexually Kevin Spacey was with men and boys. And he said, when I was on the set, I was kind of always worried until Simon Baker came on, and I guess he was just better looking, and Kevin would just go over there and do whatever Kevin does, right? But to my point here is I didn't hear anything about this till Anthony Rapp brought it out in 2017, right? Kevin Spacey was one of the biggest actors in the world. He literally was an entity to himself. You could get a movie made just by Kevin Spacey being in it, which is the ultimate sign of power in Hollywood, right? It's all about money. It's all about power. And here's where I'm going to get to. Here was his 5-year run. He did 7 in 1995, kind of came on the scene. In 96, he did Time to Kill, Usual Suspects, which he won the Academy Award for. Did LA Confidential, 97. American Beauty in 99. He won the Academy Award for lead actor, Annette Bening. Play It Forward in 2000. And in that whole time, we never heard any of the allegations. And it kind of reminds me of what we saw with Harvey Weinstein. You know, these things were going on for 10, 15, 20 years, and the media hit it or didn't really investigate it because where are you going to go? The problem is you go after Kevin Spacey, the studio is going to retaliate. And it is amazing. And where we're going with this is I'm not a big conspiracy theory, but when there is some things that are happening, and I really do think we're seeing that with Doge. I think in 5 or 6 years, we're going to see stuff they did and we're going to go, oh my God, how did we survive it? If we survive it, I don't even know that's a possibility. And it is amazing how the powers that be can keep things silent. Think about Jeffrey Epstein. How long they keep that? You know, all those pictures with Donald Trump partying with Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm not going to just say Donald Trump. There's pictures of Bill Clinton hanging out with him. You know, I mean, he was inside the circle. There was a lot of prominent and powerful people hanging out with Jeffrey. Prince William. Not William. Who's Charles's brother? Andrew. Yeah. Prince Andrew. Apologies to Prince William. He didn't do it. And it is amazing how much stuff they can keep silent. And it kind of still sickens me. I'm kind of on a negative thing here. Please indulge me today. I'm seeing the news and it's one of those days you want to projectile vomit. All right. So in another sign of, hey man, it just keeps getting better and better, Israel is keeping troops in South Lebanon in defiance of their withdrawal deadline. Okay. So Trump said Hamas had to release all the prisoners last Saturday, and they didn't. He said there's going to be severe consequences. Well, now we see, I understand why they're doing it. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just saying I understand it because Israel isn't even holding up their side of the bargain. Like, what good is the agreement if the other guy says F you first? Yeah, okay. Go ahead and release them. Let's put international pressure on you. Go ahead and release them, but we're going to keep our troops here, even though we agreed to take them out. Yeah, it's going real well here. I guess they're keeping them there so they can get the shuttle buses over to central Egypt from Gaza. Yeah. Palestinians in America who voted for Trump. I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Good luck. Effing idiots. Finally, 90 whales were stranded on an Australian beach yesterday, or this weekend. They had to unfortunately be euthanized after a failed rescue bid. And I love animals. I think most of the listeners here love animals. I actually volunteer at a dog rescue every so often. And It's just so hard. It really is. I want to take them all home, but it's just hard. You know, I had to put my rescue down a couple years ago, and it's still traumatic. But the reason they couldn't save these whales, you know, a lot of times when the whales beach themselves, they take them out and then they just come back to land. There's something going on. But the problem was the ocean was so violent outside. This was in Tasmania. Was so violent that they couldn't get them past the breakwater, and so they had to euthanize them. And I will say this, you know, I have a lot of friends. I got a couple friends, and they are so sweet with animals. There's a listener to the show, Crystal, and she is just the most caring human being when it comes to animals. I'm telling you, I am in awe of this lady and how much she cares about animals. And I really wish I could get there. I try to, but you know, there's some people who have that special gift, and I really wish the rest of the world had what she has, because she's just so amazing how she cares for animals. She gives them shots. She's always attentive to them. It's just amazing, you know, and yeah, you know, it's a tough way. It's a tough way. You know what? I'm not going to end on that because I'm going to cry. I don't want to cry on the podcast. And all my friends say, hey, man, what happened, wussy boy? Trump firing. This will be our last story. It was announced, or the Democratic senators confirmed on Sunday, that Trump fired over 1,000 national park workers. It's raising concerns about the maintenance and operating hours of our national parks and historic sites, right? The parks serve, listen to this is according to CNN, 325 million visitors a year in the nation's 428 parks and sites. Wow, that's a lot. Now, Kristen Bringle, the Vice President of Government Affairs at the National Parks Conservation Association, don't try and say that twice real quick, says to her, guided tours will be cut back or eliminated. Entrance hours will be drastically restricted. The websites will probably be immobilized because they can't handle what's going to happen. And that trash is going to pile up in the park. And if you go around society, you see how quickly trash can pick up or escalate. It can go very quickly. I have a great friend, and she is just so philanthropic. She, on her own time, cares about her community so much. She goes to pick up trash, right? And she doesn't ask for any accolades. She doesn't want any awards. She doesn't want any recognition. She's just doing it because she cares about her community, you know? Just like, you know, Crystal cares about her animals. This lady, this lady has animals too, but she cares about her community. And, you know, that's what we all should strive for. I know I have a lot of flaws. I have more flaws than everybody in this audience combined. But I strive to get a little better. And it's people like that who can inspire me, and it can inspire everybody in the audience. You know, you don't have to change the whole world, but you can change maybe somebody's world for 1 minute of one day. And doesn't that sound like a more beautiful thing? You know, having a cat purr, seeing all the trash you picked up. And even though you're not going to get any recognition, you have the self-satisfaction that you did something for somebody else, that you made your community more beautiful, that you made the world more beautiful, and you didn't ask for a thing. And those are the kind of people we need more of. We need more of them in government. We need more of them in society instead of the me thing. You know, that's why we're taking no prisoners and telling no lies. Okay, sorry about the somber tone of tonight's telecast, but tomorrow, maybe I'll have a couple more FUs. All right, but if you could, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And leave some comments if you dare, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.